In the infinite river of possibility that flows through time and space, there are moments where a single touch can reshape destiny. In the Chancellor's office on Coruscant, as the Republic's final battle raged in the stars above, Anakin Skywalker faced such a moment. An ancient Sith artifact hidden among Palpatine's collection, a record that should never have been disturbed. One touch would send the Chosen One hurtling through time itself, from the twilight of the Republic to the Empire's darkest hour. This is the story of that impossible journey where past and future collide, where a father meets the son he never knew, and where Anakin Skywalker must confront the nightmare he was destined to become. The red emergency lights bathed Chancellor Palpatine's office in an ominous glow as another explosion rocked the Coruscant skyline. Anakin Skywalker stood at the viewport, watching Separatist vulture droids streak past the Senate building. The Chancellor had been called away, another urgent war council, leaving Anakin alone with his thoughts and the weight of the Republic on his shoulders. His mechanical hand clenched involuntarily. The nightmares about Padme had grown stronger, more vivid. Death surrounded her like shadow given form. He turned from the window, pacing the opulent office like a caged Nexu. That's when he saw it. On Palpatine's desk, partially hidden beneath datapads detailing troop movements, sat an artifact he'd never noticed before. Obsidian black, it seemed to absorb the emergency lighting rather than reflect it. Ancient Sith runes spiraled across its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. A small placard read, "Recovered from Malachor excavation, 3rd Sith War era." "What are you hiding, Chancellor?" His fingers brushed the cold surface. Reality shattered. Red lightning erupted from the artifact, not the blue-white of Force lightning, but something older, angrier. It wrapped around Anakin like serpents of pure energy. He tried to scream but found no air in his lungs. The office stretched and warped, Palpatine's collection of artifacts becoming streaks of color. Then came the voices, thousands of them, millions, crying out in terror before being suddenly silenced. The Force itself seemed to tear apart around him. The last thing Anakin saw before darkness claimed him was his own reflection in the obsidian surface, but it wasn't his face staring back. It was a mask, black as the void between stars. The artifact clattered to the floor, its runes now dim. In the office, only silence remained. Anakin Skywalker was gone. Outside, the battle for Coruscant raged on, but the Chosen One was no longer there to tip the scales. He was falling through time itself, pulled by forces beyond comprehension toward a destiny that had already been written. Or had it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We thank you all for your continued support. Anakin tumbled through an endless corridor of fractured moments. He saw Padme in a white funeral gown, still and cold. Obi-Wan's face, twisted in anguish, screaming something lost in the temporal storm. Children, younglings, running in terror from a blue blade. No, that couldn't be right. That wasn't him. It would never be him. The vortex spun faster. He witnessed star destroyers that dwarfed anything in the Republic fleet. Planets dying in emerald fire. A figure in black armor, breathing like a machine, standing over countless corpses. Then came a different vision. A young man with sandy hair, holding a lightsaber with untrained hands. The boy's eyes were familiar, painfully so. They were Padme's eyes, but set in a face that could have been Anakin's own from years past. The temporal storm suddenly compressed, crushing Anakin from all sides. He felt his atoms threatening to scatter across centuries. The Force was his only anchor, and he wrapped it around himself like armor, holding his very existence together through sheer will. Gravity returned with vengeance. Anakin slammed into sodden ground, mud splattered across the Jedi robes. The air was thick, humid, and alive with the sound of creatures he didn't recognize. Ancient trees towered above him, their roots forming cathedral-like spaces in the swamp. He pushed himself up, lightsaber already in hand. This wasn't Coruscant. This wasn't anywhere he recognized. The Force here was different, untamed, wild. And beneath it all, a darkness that made his skin crawl. A cave mouth yawned before him, exhaling cold mist that seemed to whisper his name. No, not his name. Another name. A name that made his mechanical hand clench involuntarily. Vader. The whisper came from within the cave, and with it, a presence in the Force that felt hauntingly familiar. Someone was in there. Someone strong in the Force, but untrained. Young. And in terrible danger. Anakin didn't hesitate. The Chosen One had traveled through time itself. Whatever awaited in that cave, whatever dark future he'd glimpsed, he would face it. He ignited his lightsaber and stepped into the darkness. The cave breathed with malevolence. Each step Anakin took deeper into its maw brought whispers of futures that might be, should be, must never be. His blue blade cast dancing shadows on the twisted roots that formed the walls. Then he heard it, the distinctive hum of another lightsaber, followed by the sharp crack of energy meeting energy. Anakin rounded a corner and froze. Before him stood the young man from his vision, facing off against a figure in black armor. But this wasn't real. Anakin could feel the Force illusion, masterfully crafted but false nonetheless. The armored figure moved with mechanical precision, each strike calculated for maximum lethality. The boy was good, raw talent evident in every movement, but he was angry. Too angry. His strikes were wild, fueled by emotion rather than discipline. The boy struck true, severing the armored figure's head. It rolled across the cave floor, coming to rest at Anakin's feet. The mask split open. The boy's own face stared back at him from within the helmet. But this time, something changed. The Force rippled, reality reasserting itself. The illusion shattered like glass, and from behind where the false Vader had stood, Anakin Skywalker stepped into the light. The boy spun, green lightsaber raised, eyes wide with shock and fear. Who are you? I'm here to help you. Lower your weapon. Instead, the boy struck. It was a credit to the young man's skill that Anakin had to actually defend himself. Their blades met in a shower of sparks, blue against green, as they circled each other in the confined space. I don't want to hurt you. Then why are you here? Another vision? Another test? I'm as real as you are. I think we need to talk. They emerged from the cave like ghosts from a tomb, the boy leading with his lightsaber still ignited, Anakin following with hands raised in peace. The swamp's hidden air hit them like a wall after the cave's chill. Luke, unexpected visitor you bring. The ancient voice made Anakin spin. There, leaning on a gnarled walking stick, stood a creature he'd never seen before. Small, green, with ears that seemed too large for its head. But the Force. Master Yoda? Know me you do. Yet know you I do not. Curious, this is. You know each other? Master Yoda, who is this? A question, young Skywalker, that answers, demand. From when do you come, young one? From when? Master, I was just in Chancellor Palpatine's office. The Separatist attack on Coruscant was... Palpatine? You mean the Emperor? The word hit Anakin like a physical blow. Emperor? No, he's the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. The war ended, the Clone Wars have. 23 years passed. Much has changed. Much has been lost. Anakin felt the ground shift beneath him. 23 years? That was impossible. But the Force didn't lie, and this ancient master radiated truth like a sun. The Republic? Fallen, replaced by Empire, ruled by Emperor Palpatine it is. Sith Lord revealed himself to be. Destroyed the Jedi, he did. No, that's not. Palpatine is my friend. He wouldn't... Your friend? You were friends with the Emperor? Who are you really? Before Anakin could answer, Yoda raised his stick. Anakin Skywalker you are. But impossible this should be. Dead Anakin Skywalker is. Killed by Darth Vader he was. The name sent ice through Anakin's veins. Vader, the name from the cave, from his visions. I'm not dead, I'm right here. Yes, here you are. Question is, why? The ancient master's hut was even smaller inside than it appeared. Anakin had to duck to avoid hitting his head on the low ceiling, while Luke sat cross-legged on the floor, green eyes never leaving Anakin's face. Touched something you did, in the Chancellor's office. Something that belonged there should not. An artifact, Sith runes covered it. I thought... He stopped. What had he thought? That Palpatine was collecting Sith artifacts for the war effort? How naive he'd been. Brought you forward, it did. Through time itself. Dangerous such artifacts are. Meddle with time, one should not. Luke hadn't touched his stew. You keep saying Vader killed Anakin Skywalker, but he's sitting right here. Different points of view there are. Truth sometimes depends on perspective. That's not an answer. Ben told me Vader betrayed and murdered my father. Was he lying? The words hit Anakin like a lightning strike. Your father? My father was Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi Knight who fought in the Clone Wars. The Force swirled around them, heavy with unspoken truths. Anakin could feel it, the connection between them, obvious now that he was looking for it. This boy, this young man training in a swamp, was... Padme. Luke's composure cracked. You knew my mother? Careful, dangerous ground we tread. Change too much and unravel everything might. Change what? Master Yoda, please. If Palpatine is truly a Sith Lord, if the Republic has fallen, if Vader... I need to know what happens. I need to know what I'm supposed to prevent. Prevent? Already happened it has. From your perspective, yet to come. Paradox this creates. Careful we must be, or worse future we might craft. I don't care about paradoxes. If he's really from the past, if he's really... Then maybe we can save Han. Save them all. Your friends, in danger they are. Cloud City, I've seen it in visions. We're walking into a trap. Dawn broke over Dagobah's swamps as Luke demonstrated basic Force exercises. Anakin watched with professional interest, noting the raw power but lack of formal technique. The boy, his son, though neither had spoken the word, lifted rocks with an ease that would have impressed younglings at the temple. Your form is sloppy. You're using too much energy. Here, like this. He raised his hand, and not just rocks, but entire boulders rose smoothly into the air. orbiting around them in perfect symmetry. Luke's eyes widened. How did you make it look so easy? Training. Discipline. Starting when I was 9 years old. Yoda never taught you the third form? Yoda's been teaching me for, well, not very long. A few weeks maybe. Weeks? But your connection to the Forces. You should have been trained from childhood. There weren't any Jedi left to train me. They worked in silence after that, Anakin correcting Luke's stance, showing him how to channel the Force more effectively. It was surreal, teaching techniques to someone who might be his son in a future where he was supposedly dead. Vader can do what you do. The power, the precision. I felt it. You've faced him? In the cave, and in my visions, he's haunting me. Ben said Vader was seduced by the dark side, that he hunted down the Jedi, including your father. Including my father. But you're my father, aren't you? I can feel it in the Force, the connection between us. It's like looking in a mirror. The truth hung between them, unspoken but undeniable. Anakin opened his mouth, searching for words that wouldn't come. Ready for this, neither of you are. Complicate things, the truth will. Cloud City calls, young Skywalker. Decision you must make. I'm going. My friends need me. Then I'm going with you. Whatever this Vader is, whoever he's become, I won't let him hurt you. Afraid I am, Anakin Skywalker, that hurt himself Vader already has. The X-Wing's cargo compartment had been hastily cleared to make room for a passenger, not comfortable, but functional. R2-D2 beeped indignantly from the socket as Luke pushed the fighter through Dagoba's atmosphere. Anakin crouched in the cramped space behind the pilot's seat, the irony not lost on him, the chosen one reduced to cargo. He remembered his own sleek Jedi starfighter, built for speed and agility, nothing like this rebel craft. This is your droid? You know R2? He was my droid, during the Clone Wars. Another piece of the puzzle clicking into place. How many connections threaded through time, binding past to future? They jumped to hyperspace, stars elongated into lines of light. In the cockpit's close quarters, neither could avoid the other's presence in the Force. Tell me about my mother. Padme is the strongest person I know. A senator, fighting for peace, even as the galaxy tore itself apart. Beautiful, brilliant, stubborn as a bantha. She's pregnant. In my time, she's pregnant. With me. With you. I've been having visions, dreams. She dies in childbirth. I've been trying to find a way to save her. Luke was quiet for a moment. She lived long enough to name me. That's what my aunt told me. Just long enough to name me and Leia. Leia? Twins? My sister, though I only learned that recently. The Force has a sense of humor, I guess. Separated at birth, raised on different worlds, and we still found each other. Twins. Padme had been carrying twins. In his nightmare, he'd only seen her dying, never what came after, never who survived. I won't let it happen. When I get back, I'll save her. I'll save you both. And my father? Will you save him too? The question cut deep. Because if Yoda's riddles were true, if Vader had somehow killed Anakin Skywalker, then what did that make him? What darkness waited in his future that could transform him so completely? I'll try. Whatever it takes, I'll try. R2 whistled a warning. They were approaching Cloud City. Get ready. If my visions are right, we're flying into a trap. Then we spring it together. Father and son. Cloud City floated like a dream above Bespin's clouds, all Art Deco curves and impossible beauty. But the Force screamed warnings as they approached. Darkness waited here, patient and terrible. There, I can sense them. Leia, Chewie, they're in pain. They landed hard, Luke barely waiting for the X-Wing to power down before leaping out. Anakin followed, lightsaber in hand, senses stretched to their limit. The city was too quiet. No workers, no droids, just the whisper of wind through empty corridors. They moved together, two generations of Skywalker united in purpose. Wait, I sense... The Force vision hit them both simultaneously. Padme, radiant in senatorial robes, holding two infants. Her smile was tired but triumphant. Luke, Leia. Then the image shifted. Padme on a medical table, medical droids working frantically. Anakin, there's still good in him. I know there's still... Her voice faded as her eyes closed. That was your mother. Our mother. She believed in me. Even at the end, she believed. Then we have to believe too. Whatever Vader's become, whatever darkness took him, we have to believe there's still good in him. They pressed forward, following the Force signatures of Luke's friends. The corridors grew colder, the shadows deeper. Then they heard it, Leia's voice, raised in anger. You can't! We had a deal! They rounded the corner to find a dining room frozen in betrayal. A man in a cape, Lando, Luke had called him, stood arguing with stormtroopers while Boba Fett watched from the shadows. Chewbacca roared in rage, held back by binders. And Leia... Anakin's breath caught. She looked so much like Padme it hurt. The same fierce determination, the same regal bearing. His daughter standing defiant before Imperial forces. Luke, it's a trap! He's here! The temperature dropped 20 degrees. The lights dimmed, and from the shadows at the far end of the room, breathing like a machine, stepped Darth Vader. The Dark Lord froze mid-step, his helmet turning from Luke to Anakin. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Then Vader spoke, his voice a mechanical rasp that still somehow carried disbelief. Impossible. The carbon freezing chamber embodied industrial brutality. Steam hissed from countless pipes while the central pit gaped like a hungry maw. Han Solo's carbonite-frozen form stood as a monument to betrayal, his face forever twisted in that final moment of shock. Luke surged forward, but Vader's gesture slammed the doors shut with the Force. The Dark Lord stood motionless, his attention fixed entirely on Anakin. The mechanical breathing that had terrorized a galaxy stuttered, betraying the shock beneath the armor. 3 Force presences filled the chamber, past, present, and future, colliding in impossible paradox. Anakin and Luke flanked the Dark Lord, lightsabers humming their readiness. The air itself seemed to recoil from the temporal impossibility of the moment. Vader's initial dismissal of Anakin as a phantom gave way to something deeper. His rigid posture spoke of barely controlled emotion as he proclaimed the impossible, but he had killed Anakin Skywalker himself. The words echoed with the weight of self-destruction. As accusations flew, the truth emerged in fragments. Vader spoke of becoming what was necessary, of weakness transformed into strength, but Anakin saw through the facade. This wasn't strength. It was a man entombed in his own failures, hiding behind technology and terror. The breaking point came when Padme entered the conversation. Vader's control shattered. Pipes throughout the chamber burst under the pressure of his rage. He spoke of betrayal, of everyone turning against them, of Padme choosing Obi-Wan. The pain radiating through the Force was almost unbearable. Luke's unwavering faith clashed against Vader's nihilistic certainty. The young Jedi insisted on the good he sensed, while Vader claimed only power remained. 3 Skywalkers at 3 different points on the same tragic arc. When Vader finally revealed the truth, that he was Anakin's future, that Luke was the son he'd tried to forget, the words fell like hammer blows. The impossible was real, the nightmare had a name, and it was his own. The chamber erupted in violence. Blue crashed against red, past warring with future, as identical fighting styles clashed with devastating precision. Anakin recognized his own Gemso form reflected back at him through Vader's mechanical movements, power and aggression perfected through decades of darkness. Luke's intervention disrupted the deadly mirror match. His unorthodox technique, born of desperate necessity rather than formal training, wove between the two masters like a green thread binding past to future. The chamber's machinery groaned and buckled under the assault of 3 Skywalkers unleashing their full potential. The battle revealed truths more painful than any lightsaber strike. Vader's bitter denunciation of the Chosen One prophecy cut deep, as did his surgical dissection of Anakin's motives. The search for power to save Padme, the fear driving every decision, the willingness to trust Palpatine's whispered promises. Vader laid bare the path to darkness with intimate knowledge. When Obi-Wan's name entered the battle, Vader's control shattered completely. Pipes exploded throughout the chamber as decades of repressed rage erupted. The accusation of betrayal, of being left to burn, painted a picture of such profound abandonment that even Luke faltered in his defense. But it was Luke's mention of Padme's final words that cracked Vader's armor. Not the physical shell, but the emotional barriers beneath. His strikes lost their mechanical precision, becoming wild, desperate, driven by pain rather than purpose. Anakin felt it all through their shared Force connection. 20 years of agony compressed into this moment. The dark side hadn't given Vader strength, it had simply replaced one prison for another, trading the fear of loss for the reality of it. The temporal paradox reached critical mass. Lightning, born not of Sith sorcery but of reality tearing itself apart, danced between the 2 versions of Anakin Skywalker. The Force itself rebelled against this impossibility, threatening to shatter all 3 combatants in its fury. Reality itself began to unravel. The carbon freezing chamber dissolved into abstract geometry as the Force tore at the seams of existence. 3 Skywalkers battled not just each other, but the fundamental laws of time that forebode their coexistence. Accusations flew between lightsaber strikes. Anakin's rage at the betrayal of everything the Chosen One stood for, Vader's bitter insistence that he had destroyed both Sith and Jedi, that all paths led to the same burning end. Luke darted between them, desperately trying to prevent the mutual annihilation he sensed approaching. The paradox intensified with each passing second. 2 versions of the same soul occupying the same moment created a wound in the Force that threatened to consume them all. Reality fractured like stressed transparasteel, showing glimpses of other times, other possibilities, futures that might have been, pasts that could never be. Vader's revelations came like hammer blows. Palpatine's true identity as the Sith Lord confirmed. The careful manipulation spanning years acknowledged. Every fear Anakin harbored about his future path validated in the worst possible way. Yet even in confession, Vader insisted on the inevitability of it all. Every future ending in Padme's death, his fall, the Empire's rise. Luke's fierce denial broke through the fatalism. His green blade became a beacon of hope between the blue of past innocence and the red of future damnation. The future wasn't fixed, he insisted. Knowledge could change things. choice still mattered. The admission that finally cracked Vader's certainty was the simplest. Yes, I failed. Those 3 words carried the weight of decades. In that moment, the temporal storm reached its crescendo. The Sith artifact's energy, which had been building throughout their battle, suddenly focused entirely on Anakin. Red lightning began to engulf him, pulling him back toward his own time. The last image burned into Anakin's memory, Vader standing alone amidst the destruction, watching his past self vanish, and through the Force, unmistakable despite the mechanical prison, tears. Anakin materialized on Palpatine's office floor, gasping. The Sith artifact lay beside him, its runes now cracked and dim, damaged by the temporal paradox it had created. Through the viewport, the Battle of Coruscant still raged. Only minutes had passed in his time. But for Anakin, everything had changed. He pushed himself up, muscles trembling from phantom exhaustion. His mechanical hand clenched reflexively as he reached for his lightsaber. Still there, still real. The office door hissed open and Palpatine entered, his grandfatherly face creased with concern. "Anakin, my boy, I felt a disturbance. Are you—" The false warmth died as Palpatine's eyes found the damaged artifact. "What have you done?" "I know what you are. I know what you're planning." Palpatine's mask slipped, just for an instant. The yellow eyes flashed before returning to their normal blue. "I'm afraid I don't understand. The Sith Lord the Council has been searching for. It's you. It's always been you. These are dangerous accusations. The stress of war, your concerns about Padme. Don't pretend you care about her. You were going to use her death to turn me, to make me your apprentice." "My boy." "I'm not your boy. I'm your apprentice. I'm not going to become Darth Vader." The name hung in the air like a curse. Palpatine's facade cracked completely, revealing the monster beneath. "You know nothing of power. Nothing of what's necessary to bring order to the galaxy. I know enough. I know the cost, and it's too high. The Jedi will never accept you. Your precious council already distrusts you. When Padme dies, she won't die, because I'm going to trust in something you never understood. Love isn't weakness. Fear is." He left the office without looking back, without igniting his lightsaber, without giving in to the anger that would forge the first link in Vader's chains. Outside, Coruscant burned. The Republic was dying. Everything he'd seen in that terrible future was beginning. But Anakin Skywalker had something Darth Vader never did. He had hope. And somewhere, 23 years in the future, a young man named Luke would keep a promise to save them all. The Chosen One walked toward destiny, no longer afraid of the dark, because now, he'd seen the light. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of what might have been, remember to hit that subscribe button and join us for more explorations of the infinite possibilities within that galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.